Hello everyone, I'm Bill Davis, President and CEO of ABC Fitness Solutions. We are so excited to partner with Club Industry and Cybec to welcome you to today's keynote. We at ABC are committed to the fitness industry and ready to take on the next new normal. Our comprehensive club management solution can help you deliver a total fitness experience for your members and energize your business growth. Events such as Future of Fitness is a fantastic opportunity to facilitate dialogue for growth and re-innovation, especially during this transformative time for all of us. In that vein, I have the privilege of introducing today's keynote address by Liz Bohannon. She is founder and CEO of ethical fashion brand Sseko Designs. Offering viewpoints and experiences from individuals outside the fitness industry is important to the reinvention of the industry. And Liz's background is one of reinvention. After graduating with a master's degree in journalism, Liz moved to Uganda in 2008, where she met an incredible group of talented young women who were struggling to finance their higher education, as the pressure in Uganda to forego higher education for marriage can lead young women to abandon their career dreams, most especially if they cannot afford their higher education interest. After traveling the country by motorcycle to find raw materials and learn how to produce footwear by hand, Liz hired 3 young women and started Sseko Designs. Since then, Sseko Designs has grown from 3 women making sandals together under a mango tree to an international fashion brand that provides employment, education opportunities, and entrepreneurial training to hundreds of women in East Africa and across the globe. In March of this year, the COVID-19 pandemic had a severe impact on Liz's business. In fact, her financial advisor told her that she had a 90% chance of losing her business, which would have adversely affected the employment and education opportunities for the women in East Africa and the women in the US who sell her company's products. So Liz, who wrote the book, Beginner's Pluck, Build Your Life of Purpose, Passion, and Impact Now, went back to the beginning and worked with her team to launch an entirely new product line that took Sseko from record low sales and revenue in March to over 100% of their sales goals by May. And their fall product launch is the biggest in Sseko's history. In her keynote, Liz will share the strategies she used to quickly pivot and turn around her business and strategies that you can use to do the same with your business. So please join me in welcoming Liz Bohannon.
Hey everybody, my name is Liz Forkin Bohannon, and I am the CEO and co-founder of a socially conscious fashion brand called Sseko Designs and an author of a best-selling book called Beginner's Pluck. And I am so honored to be here with you today. A big thanks to Club Industry and to Cybec. I know that y'all have been working so hard to pivot and to create a virtual online gathering to truly inspire and create content that is relevant and actionable and meaningful for your community during these wild times. And I truly am so grateful to be just a tiny part of that. As I mentioned, my day job is that I am an entrepreneur. I started a company called Sseko Designs. I had no intention of starting a fashion brand. In fact, I had no interest in fashion or business. But when I graduated from university with a graduate degree and a lot of information and facts about the issues that were facing women and girls living in developing economies and in conflict and post-conflict zones, I graduated. I looked for my dream job. I couldn't find it. I took a job at a corporate communications firm. And about 3 months into working at this job, I had this moment of realization, which was this. I knew a lot about the issues facing women and girls living in poverty and in conflict. I knew a lot of facts. I knew a lot of the issues. I had my opinions, right? But the reality is I didn't know a single girl who had grown up in this context. I didn't have a single friend a single relationship. Like my life, my community, my little world that I was building was really entirely unaffected by these issues. And once I realized that there was this pretty big gap between what I said I cared about and the actual life that I was living and building, this like big dream that I had, to bring 1 million women and girls out of extreme poverty and big budgets and, fancy corporations became really, really small. So small. A very tiny, unimpressive, kind of half-baked dream of making one friend. That became my new kind of life goal. And because my dream got so small, the awesome thing about dreaming small dreams is that you also kind of remove all of the excuses and the overwhelm that can often accompany big dreams. And I bought a one-way plane ticket, quit my job, and moved to Uganda. Didn't know anybody, didn't have a job, didn't have a fancy reason for going. You can imagine, what my parents thought when they were like, okay, wait, you just quit your job in the height of the recession, bought a one-way plane ticket to Uganda. You've literally never really left the United States of America before. Why are you going to Uganda? And I was like, Mom and Dad, I'm going to make a friend, right? And so they were like, couldn't you, just join a running club like your sister? But that small dream of just like, I just want to know. I want to know one person was the thing that actually catapulted me out of waiting and into creating, out of being a dreamer and into actually being a doer. Long story short, I showed up in Uganda and just did what I said I was going to do, which was just make friends, right? And through that process, I ended up meeting this incredible group of young women in between high school and university. They tested into college, some of the top 5% of students in the entire country, but they couldn't afford to go. And in addition to not having the money, they also really didn't have the social support. You see, these young women were a part of a school where they lived and worked and studied together for 2 years. And during this 9-month gap between high school and university, when they go back home to their villages, not only do they have a hard time finding a job, they also lose a lot of that social support in that community. And they face a ton of social pressure to get married and to start having kids and to not continue their education. In response to this, seeing, here's 25 in this case of the brightest young women in the country not going on to university only because of this kind of pesky 9-month gap, I ended up designing a pair of these strappy, funky sandals. And listen, you guys, I couldn't have cared less about sandals at the time, right? I started a chicken farm and that failed. And then my friend from back home was like, what about those like strappy, funky sandals that you made when you were in college? You see, when I was in college, I had the really bright idea. I was walking to my chemistry lab at 8 a.m. across campus one day. It was like pretty empty. I was like walking across the quad on the sidewalk. And when your flip-flops are just like so obnoxiously loud. And I was like, I would love a pair of flip-flops that don't flop, right? And so I took a pair of like rubber shower sandals. I tore off the kind of, plastic thong and I replaced it with some funky strappy ribbons and voila, I had flip-flops that didn't flop. So I went to the school and I hired 3 young women, Mary, Mercy, and Rebecca. And I sat down with Mary, Mercy, and Rebecca. I taught them how to make these strappy sandals that I'd just learned how to make like 10 minutes before. And I made them a promise that changed the entire trajectory of my life. I said, I promise that if you make these sandals for the next 9 months, I promise I'll go home and I will sell them. And I promise that you will go to university next fall. And they were like, okay. And I was like, okay. And then came back home to the US and started selling strappy sandals out of the back of my car, which is definitely, what your parents want you doing with that master's degree in journalism. But somehow it actually worked. Basically, I've spent the last 10 years building out best-in-class fair trade manufacturing now all over the globe. We have this incredible, amazing factory, all-star Ugandan management team. We're one of the largest exporters in the entire country. We've enabled hundreds of female scholars to continue on to university, not just in Uganda, but now Ethiopia. We've created jobs for thousands of fair trade artisans across the globe to earn a dignified wage in Uganda, Ethiopia, Kenya, and Peru. And we've created opportunity for thousands of entrepreneurs here in the United States to sell our products. So about 5 years ago, we took our products off of store shelves, put them into the hands of folks in their community. Mainly, like women from all across the country, a pharmacist from Indiana and a wedding photographer from Tyler, Texas, and a part-time graphic designer from California. Women who had frankly never sold anything before, but who had this desire, one, to earn a flexible income, and two, to do work that matters. And in their first year, a few dozen, these ragtag women ended up selling more Seiko than we had ever sold through this wholesale channel. And it has been this wild, amazing ride. So anyway, it's been really great. We're about 10 years in, things were going real well. And then March of 2020 hit. And y'all, I know so many of you who are watching this are struggling. Things are turning upside down. They're shut down. They're running at 10% capacity. There's discouragement. There's fear. There's anxiety. There's this question of just like feeling so powerless and like the future is so incredibly unknown. And I want you to know that I get that on an actual physical, spiritual level, because that is what I also, as a business owner, experienced in March. When the world shut down and, stay-at-home orders started being issued, the other thing that also shut down was our revenue. Y'all, just virtually overnight, it disappeared. Right now, we're a lifestyle women's fashion brand. We sell beautiful, higher end, leather handbags. They're footwear, really versatile apparel. Kind of like one of our main offerings to our customer is how versatile. It's great for travel, the kind of modern wanderlust, sandals that you can tie in dozens of different ways and still throw in your carry-on bag. In fact, our entire social media calendar for the month of March was all about travel and all about our specific products that were super travel friendly and versatile and great for your next globe-trotting adventure. Well, obviously March 2020 hits. And that's not exactly what is top of mind for most customers, in addition to going nowhere. Also, there's obviously this unprecedented job loss, right? And discretionary spending, specifically in the area and the industry of fashion, was forecasted to plummet. And it did, and it has. A couple weeks into this just disastrous low, right? We were on a call with one of our really trusted mentors and advisors who kind of is very in on the industry trends, kind of sees what's coming, has some insider knowledge, knows our company, our position. And after kind of consulting with them, he looked at us and he said, "Hey, Ben and Liz, I now run the company with my husband and co-founder, Ben." He's like, "Listen, I think there's about a 10% chance Seiko makes it through this global pandemic. And I think just for the sake of you and your family, y'all really need to be thinking about what the next chapter is." Y'all, I went to bed that night in a state of despair, like anxiety. I will never forget the night I laid in bed and I asked myself, like, is everything that we've built over the last 10 years, is it all about to get wiped out by a freaking respiratory virus? And I will never forget laying in bed. It was probably 2 a.m. laying in the silence and then hearing this still small voice say, "Not today, Kurt." Kurt is the name of the mentor who told us we were going to fail. "Not today, Kurt. Not today, Kurt." And honestly, you guys, it was so bad. It was so bad that it kind of gave me this new, like, wild sense of freedom. Like, if we have a 10% chance of making it, like, we're going to go out freaking swinging for the fences. Like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to say, I tried everything that I could. I pivoted. I evolved. I took drastic measures. Like, I'm not going to die like a slow and painful death over the next several months. And so we woke up the next morning and we freaking got to work. And here's what it looked like for us. We had to sit down and to ask probably the scariest question that I've ever asked as a business owner, which is the solution, is the thing that you've built over the last 10 years, is it still solving a problem for your customer base? Is that still what they're looking for? Is that still what they're needing? Or virtually overnight, did the world change and then therefore your customer's life changed and then therefore your customer's problems changed? And we had to very seriously grapple with, does our product catalog, is what we happen to be offering in March of 2020, the thing that she is looking for? And before jumping to that answer, we said, we don't know. We don't know until we take the time and we pause and we put ourselves in her shoes and we do an exercise in empathy, okay? And so we got real specific with it, right? We were like, okay, you know, we picked out a specific woman that we know, who's a customer of ours. That's kind of, you know, like an archetype, right? And we started like thinking about her life realistically and also hypothetically, right? We're like, okay, she probably got that call that we got, that daycare is canceled for, I don't know, forever. She's got, you know, 2 kids in elementary school. So now in addition to the baby, she's got like this online distance learning. Like, how do you teach a 7-year-old through the computer? I have no idea, but now she's a teacher. Her husband is now working from home. He might lose his job. So there's an incredible amount of, you know, stress on the family. They're all in one place. It's just absolute utter chaos. In addition, there's some things that she's lost in the last few weeks, right? She has lost, she's not going to go out and get that like once a month mani-pedi. She's not going to the office, so she's not getting ready in the morning, maybe using that fancy face cream and, you know, putting on her lipstick and maybe stopping by her favorite coffee shop, you know, once or twice a week to get like a fancy lavender latte. Her monthly book club has been canceled, so she's not hanging out once a month with other women and feeling like connected and having a nice glass of wine. And all of a sudden, we started thinking about all these things that she was losing and probably really going to start missing. And this phrase, little luxuries, started to emerge. We started to entertain the possibility that maybe the big luxury, you know, the $300 new travel beautiful handbag wasn't what she needed right now, but instead a way to infuse this kind of idea of little luxuries into her everyday life. What does that look like, right? Well, we started just thinking about her actual day. We asked ourselves the question of like, what time is she waking up? Well, she's probably waking up like an hour, maybe 2 hours earlier than normal, just to wake up before the rest of the house starts so she can have a bit of peace, even though she's exhausted in the midst of just like the chaos and Groundhog Day that she's about to like enter into, right? So we imagined her waking up early. We imagined her kind of quietly going downstairs. And the first thing that we imagined her doing is what we do every morning, is putting on the hot water to make a cup of really good coffee. Because in my family, that has become our number one little luxury, is just really good, small batch roasted, beautiful pour over coffee every single morning. You guys, we weren't even at 7 a.m. in this empathy exercise when it kind of occurs to us that there's this opportunity to infuse every single morning, to connect her with a broader purpose, to inspire her with beautiful packaging and a beautiful story, a call to action that gets her connected with her community, and a beautiful cup of delicious, expertly roasted coffee, the best that she's ever had, right? Then we started thinking of like, oh, isn't it interesting that Uganda, where we have a factory and all of these relationships, is one of the best coffee growing climates in the entire world. And Ethiopia, one of our other impact countries, is literally the birthplace of coffee. And the phrase in Amharic in Ethiopia that means to drink coffee, it actually quite literally translates to being together. And together, coffee was born. I thought maybe I had some of it. There we go. Together Coffee. Oop, there we go. Together Coffee was born. Y'all, in 4 weeks, we entered in an entirely new industry. Hello, food space, right? We found production partners and roasting partners. We designed, we concept, we branded, we messaged, we put out a marketing plan. We got our sellers on board. We rolled out a product that normally would have taken us, I don't know, 18 months, 2 years. And we did it in 4 weeks because it was like, what the heck? Like, we got to swing for the fences, right? And we decided that we were going to create this little luxury experience for her. It would arrive by subscription on her doorstep at exactly the right moment in time so that she could maintain a semblance of luxury and connectedness and the sense that she's a part of something that is bigger than herself. And that might happen in her coffee cup instead of, on her person or carrying a handbag or on her feet with a pair of amazing shoes. Y'all, so Together Coffee is what we launched it during the pandemic, so it's 10 years old. No, I'm just kidding. Feels like it's been that long. I don't know, 5-6 months old. Represents almost a quarter of our revenue, and our company as a whole is up over 100% year over year. Which I cannot believe that I'm saying after the March and April that we had with how bad it was. But when we allow ourselves not just to protect our solutions and to hang on to what was, and I know it's so hard and it's so scary, but to let go of some of those ideas, some of those sunk costs, some of the ways that we've already done it, the things that we've already committed to, right? And we let ourselves just dream about not yesterday, but today. What are the problems your community, your customers, your clientele are facing now? And how are you uniquely suited to step into that? We love solving problems, but sometimes, especially during a crisis, being someone who can look for and find the most interesting and relevant problems, oh, you guys, that is gold. It's gold and it's brave. The only other thing that I want to say that really I would attribute the complete turnaround in our company to is because of our purpose and our mission. Here's the thing about purpose and mission, you guys. You can't manufacture it during a crisis, right? You can't all of a sudden decide, we have a purpose and everybody get on board. This is something that we had been sewing into the DNA of our company, of our team, of our culture. And when COVID-19 hit, we knew it was going to be bad here in the United States. But what we also knew is that our global community, a lot of the safety net options that we have here in the United States, like our brothers and sisters across the globe, they don't have that. They don't have a second chance. They don't have a backup option, right? We as their community, we are the safety net. And when people kind of got over the shock of their own experience, it was our mission. It was this shared sense of purpose that we have together that enabled our entire community of people to rise up, right? To rise up and to say, listen, we can rise above our fear. We can rise above our panic and our anxiety because we are a part of something that is so much bigger than any one of us, right? When panic hits, it's so easy. If you are in it on your own, of course you're going to be overwhelmed by the enormity of it. But if you build a team and you build a culture and you're all working towards a common goal, now is the time. Now is the time, each of us coming to the table and playing our unique role in the story to rise and to create a rising tide that lifts all ships. Y'all, I know the fitness industry has been turned upside down, but I also know that we need you now more than ever. The role that you play in your customers and your community's lives, health and wellness and mental health and mental wellness and community and connection. Rates of depression and anxiety and illness are obviously skyrocketing right now. The gifts that you have and the tools that you have and the skills that you have are needed more now than ever. And so I ask you, will you be brave? And will you ask the question of maybe it's going to look totally different. Maybe I'm going to have to let go of something that I've been holding on to, but maybe in that letting go, it's actually going to allow something new and beautiful to emerge that was meant to be all along. I believe in you, and I am rooting so hard for you. Pluck yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for joining the keynote session today. I really enjoyed Liz's perspective and strategy on adapting her business to the next new normal. One thing I've learned in my many years in the education and healthcare IT industries is this. Brands that understand the evolving advancements and related demands of technology, as well as the needs of their customers, are always better positioned for sustained growth. Earlier, I shared 10 best practices on how you can embrace technology to not only reduce costs, but also ways to create a personalized engagement with your members as a differentiating way to generate new revenue. For example, we have seen with membership on Freeze as high as 6 times as last year. Engaging and communicating with frozen members is the biggest opportunity club owners and operators must proactively and successfully unfreeze memberships and reinstate payments. Another opportunity is to elevate the personal training experience. Not only can you potentially save upwards of $14,000 per year purchasing third-party videos, you can create a completely branded mobile experience with your own videos with your staff and engage with your members using a single solution rather than multiple technologies. I encourage everyone to view the session titled Embrace Your Fear, How Technology Can Be Your Secret Weapon to Boost Your Business for more real-life and practical examples. I truly believe the future of fitness is bright and only possible when you can deliver a total fitness experience for your members no matter where they are. So please go to the link below to learn more about the total fitness experience and how ABC can be your trusted partner to energize your business growth.